Welcome to Ken Shamrock's Talk Show, podcast series where we get dangerous. On this show, we will talk about everything from combat sports to social needs and current world events. I am your host, Ken Shamrock, aka the most dangerous man in the world. Our topics today will be, why did I want to start a podcast? That should be very interesting. But before we get started, if you have a question, a topic, suggestions you want me to talk about, go to kenshamrock.com/question and submit one, and I will answer your questions. Well, let's jump right into it. Why did I want to start a podcast? Boy, there's all kinds of reasons, I guess. But let's start with this one, that I get to engage with my fans. I mean, I've built up a fan base. From the time I started fighting, there was one thing that was always important to me, and that was what the fans thought about my fight. I remember even in Japan where it was so difficult because a lot of times they would sit in the audience and they would just all look and they would study, and then all at the same time they would do ooh or ah when something happened. So sometimes it was difficult to even read the fans on whether they were enjoying it or not, but they were. So for me, it has always been something that I've always paid attention to. Then, of course, when I started fighting in the States, they're always loud and always aggressive. So I had always had my ear to listen to some of the comments and the thoughts about the fans. Some of them weren't very nice, but I guess you just kind of put those behind you. But for the majority of them, they were all great. It was important to me that they were enjoying what I was doing. So this was just another opportunity, especially after I've had the long career I've had, inducted in the Hall of Fame with the UFC. Also got an opportunity to be inducted in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Things I'm very proud of. But at the same time, a lot of that meant the fans had to enjoy what I was doing. So this is just another opportunity for me to be able to stay connected with the fans that helped me have such a successful career. So, now we get to talk about, Valor BK, where I'm going to be starting a bare knuckle league. Obviously Impact Wrestling. It's been going very well for me. So there's a lot of fan base there. I get to stay connected with the fans through that also. The other thing, too, is just being able to listen to the things that are going on in the world. I think this where a lot of athletes, celebrities, or people that have a voice through whatever channel they've gone through to create their platform for people to listen to them, to have such a large audience to listen to them. We have a responsibility to be able to, try to help the world be better because we've built such a platform and people do listen. So podcast is just another way for me to be able to stay a part of the fans, being able to encourage, being able to even have my 2 cents in on what's going on and hopefully make things better. So for me, that's really what it's about with the podcast, is really staying connected, being able to even live a little bit longer, talk about the fights, talk about my career. So that's kind of where the podcast is going right now. But really, that's one of the most important things to me when I did start it was I just wanted to be able to relive, talk about those fights because, you hear all the time these radio interviewers and different people are always asking me, hey, can you do an interview with you? And for years, and I mean, this is going on even after my career, where I would be doing at least 3 or 4 interviews a week. And the interviews that I do were always ones that were popular, very popular on these different shows that I was doing. And I thought to myself, well, why am I giving all this content to them? Even though I don't mind that, why don't I just do it myself and be able to have a place that fans will be able to connect with me through, whether it's newsletters, being a part of my Ken Shamrock newsletter, being able to be more in that family kind of atmosphere where I'm able to let you guys in on all the stuff that's going on that I'm doing within my own world, and stay a little bit more connected rather than what I was doing before, where I was just going out and giving everybody else all these interviews, and the interviews were doing really well. And I just said, well, instead of doing that, why don't I just create a podcast and be able to start building our own little family and our own little network, so that I have a better connection to my fans. So really, that's really what it's about. Also, too, when you think about the things that go on in the world, just this COVID thing, with all the stuff going on with that, and the rioting. There's just so many things that we take for granted as we're living our own lives, but the things in the world that are happening really do affect everyone. And I just felt like, hey, having a podcast and being able to talk. And like I said, not on all of it we won't, but on different times we'll definitely talk about these different things. We talk about world events and social events, and also even sporting events. So these are things that gives me a platform to be able to reach out and connect with the fans and be able to talk a little bit about my thoughts and what I'm feeling, and for them to be able to react with me and tell me what they're thinking also. So even like I said, we mentioned this COVID thing and how the communities are being shut down, and how the communities are in some areas being rioted, and the thought processes, and all these different people, losing their jobs and not being able to go to work, and businesses losing their jobs, because now they can't employ people, and now they have to, their lives are completely turned upside down. And are we in that stage, where is it that bad? And I'm not making an opinion here, but is it that bad? These different things that are happening in the world, is it that bad to where we have to destroy everything when it comes to the working man, the small businesses? Is it that bad to where we have to shut all those down, and within 2 or 3 years, we'll start feeling the brunt of those small businesses and the people that can't actually go to work? So this is really what the podcast was about, talking about sporting events, my career, reminiscing with the fans about the good old days, and also talking about these type of things, and the reason why we talk about the COVID and the business shutting down, and these people losing their jobs, and how things would be affected in the next couple of years, because that's really what's happening right now with the rioting and all that. So we're not going to get into that or discuss that, but it's just another reason why I wanted to start a podcast, because I wanted to have a voice, and I want to hear the fans' voice too, to be able to at least have an opportunity that we can help make a difference. So really, that's what the podcast is about. It's about talking about everything and anything, without offending anybody, without anybody getting angry, being able to have discussions, good discussions, bad discussions. We can debate, we can disagree, we can agree, but really that is what the podcast is about. And I hope in the future, as I start launching this, that we will have all these things, and that we'll be able to build this, in my opinion, and my vision is to build this world of a family within this social media network, under KenShamrock.com. And so again, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening. And that's the reason why I wanted to start a podcast. See you next time. God bless.